last year for Stricker.
15 love.
As Humbert opens up, dropping the hammer. So good.
30 love.
Do you have Rust-Oleum in Great Britain? It's a spray that you put on to get the rust off. Seems like he just got a little quick spritz of it before this match. That is a handy dandy little start. There's a captain for Team France.
That's why I love you, Jim, because you're so confident. You go to those places that other people wouldn't necessarily go. Spray, tennis.
Rust-Oleum. You know, I'm keeping it tight. There's a quick look at Stricker uncoiling on his forehand and not afraid to get into the net.
Turn forehand in his thing.
Left person.
Tell you one thing, in the Swiss team zone down there, they're going to need to be aware when Humbert's serving in the ad court, because he can really create big angles.
Left person.
Almost peeled that first serve in this point into that team zone.
He's been drifting ever wider on the ad side in the last couple of seasons, has Humbert. And it kind of sucks you into leaning out wide because of where he's standing, and it gives him the opportunity, even though it's not necessarily the most pure down the tee serve because it's coming from such an angle, for him to get a lot of free points. Well, they had to change the net, and it's a lucky net so far for Humbert as he picks up the opening game off the back of that particular net cord. Jim Courier fluent in French, but unfortunately we can't hear what they've got to say.
Mike's run up, but Captain Fabrice Martin having a quiet chat there.
For Stricker, it was a long time before he actually knew what the problem was with his back. He said that at the back end of 2023, when he was having that success, we saw the head-to-head where Humbert beat him in the quarters of Basel. He had played a lot of matches. He was having to play qualifying to get into the tournaments. The back had been aching for a while, and then it obviously gave way at the next-gen competition, but it was a slow process to get the right diagnosis. Took some time off, actually could still play a little bit of golf, actually did a nice job in the kitchen as well. Learned to cook.
Switzerland.
It's going to be good husband material.
It's
not just Jim and myself on this one. Todd Woodbridge has been listening in. I saw you've been scribbling a lot down there. Todd, what was that for?
Well, I was just you know, Jim was talking about rust. I was trying to get a bit off myself here, get back into the game. But I'm really looking forward to this courtside.
30 left.
One of the key things down here is you actually see the ball striking and shape of shot, and two quite different shapes on the forehand here. You get that lovely, smooth, long flowing stroke from Humbert compared to a much more rigid and a heavy, more topspin from Humbert. But we'll keep an eye on both those forehands as we get underway. But great to be courtside with you two.
40-11.
Ball was flirtatious with the line. Stricker seemed to be waiting for a call that never came. It's live electronic line calling here, so everything is automated. He was pretty casual with that one, and that still elicited a pretty big miss from the Frenchman.
Game, Team Switzerland.
Advantage to find a quick return.
Look at Stricker's play last season. Missed the first half of the year trying to figure out the back issue. Returned, resurfaced on the grass in Surbiton, challenger leading into the championships, and used his protected ranking at both Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. Lost in the first round of both of those. Played, quite often in the fall, which is good. Bouncing between some tour events and some challengers.
15-11.
So trying to build some momentum here early in the season, a time where he was sidelined this time last year. Look where this serve is coming from. That's as close to the sideline as you can get. That's a foot fault, actually. He crossed the sideline with his front foot there. They'll have to keep eyes on that downstairs.
That's an interesting one, Jim, as he slows down another race, because that would be called by the electronic line calling, right? So they would have a program to be center, they would have it in there, but I don't think they would even thought about out here yet. It's probably not in the program to be able to call it.
Again, Todd, and this one, that's another foot fault. That's 2 in a row, because his front foot, it starts in a safe spot and then he moves it during the motion and it crosses the line, which is the same as crossing the baseline or center service line.
Game, Team France.
Well, that's a good discussion point, but it is another good service game from the Frenchman, who leads 2-1 in the opening set.
Let's take another closer look here. Watch the front foot as he goes into motion. That is clearly infringing the line. So they'll have to figure that one out, but Todd, you're right. That's not something you're necessarily used to looking for. Actually, his back foot crosses as well. Good work downstairs with the replays team. That is excellent. And so is his serve, by the way. He doesn't need to break the rules to be awesome with that serve.
Yeah, the official rules saying if you touch the area outside of the imaginary extension of the sideline with either foot, that it is a foot fault. So I wonder how quickly somebody from either tour is going to pick up on that.
Well, it makes it tough for their chair umpire. You could see it in that last serve, but when he goes up to the other end of the court, it's the furthest away from her, and she's got to also be aware that she should be looking for it, because it's going to have to come from her, right, unless they put a lines person out there.
That's a good discussion point about the serve from Humbert's point of view, and if you're in the Swiss team, you would certainly be lodging a little bit of an appeal to the umpire about where he's serving from. He's going to have to make some sort of adjustment.
Left facade.
interesting to see he start spreading the play, Jim, off the return. He's gone fast through the middle a number of times, and Stricker's done a nice job of diffusing that.
Stricker has such a compact swing on his two-handed backhand. It's very flat strike of the ball, and he's able to fend off big pace on that side. Humbert can do the same, actually. His backhand quite similar. Both of them far more elaborate on their forehands as they look to do more damage. A lot more wrist action involved on the forehand side. Get that whip through the strike zone and add speed to the shot. Backhands are about accuracy.
(30-15).
Did try and spread the play there. That was a little wild from the 26-year-old. Much more conventional stance from this left-hander on the baseline when he's serving. And it's worked out very nicely. Quick hold, 2 apiece. Talked about his win over Hologic for Stricker back in Stuttgart on the grass in 2021, which just served notice to everybody of just the quality that he had. His other big win coming against Casper Ruud in Basel on his way through to that meeting with Humbert in the quarterfinals for Dominic Stricker. He's won a couple of doubles titles, both times coming in Gstaad. Don't want to give this guy time on the ball, Jim. He's actually, combination-wise, Humbert's one of the biggest out there on the tour.
Yep, he can throttle that +1 forehand. The shot after the serve, you can see, doesn't give ground on the baseline. Doesn't look like he's doing a lot, right? But he's got a lot of wrist action on it, which imparts that extra speed on the ball.
Numbers I have for him, and I may be just a touch out, but I had him down at 79 miles an hour on his forehand and 75 off the backhand.
It's upper echelon.
Yeah. There's not a lot of breathing room if you're down the other end, and he's not making errors.
That's how you can turn things around, though. If you're Stricker, you want to take things on and make it more on your terms, and getting to the net is probably the best way for him to do that. And he's a sturdy, burly player, not as lean as his opponent, but he's got some power on his legs. He moves well. Here's that extreme serve position again. Oh, what a combo.
Jim, he's a bit of a throwback type of athlete, though, because he moves very well forward and he comes into the net with those first 2 steps well. So he's a good sneaker, but already from courtside here, you see him struggling out into the corners a lot. This is where he gets burnt. So he covers a corner and leaves a gap a lot, and that's something he's going to have to be aware of.
Schön drüber, Hand korrigieren, muss nicht flüchten, kontrolliert offensiv, nicht zu schnell longen.
Game Team France.
Wasn't as well positioned with the serve as he has been, but it is still
Team
the third hold
France
for
by 3 games
Humbert
to 2.
after the opening 5 games.
One of the talking points already early in this match is the extreme positioning for Humbert with his first serve. Let's take you back a couple of years ago to the 2023 Australian Open. That red patch up there, that's the cluster where he was making contact with his serve. And then, well, the US Open last year, most recent data at a major, you could see he's already shifting it, but today he's gone even further afield to the left. So he's really, seems like he's exploring his options. And I guess one explanation I might have for why he's even further to the left today than usual would be simply the fact that he's playing a lefty. So he's trying to get to a forehand, not to a backhand, where you just have naturally more reach, don't you, Todd?
Play not too far away from getting underway at RAC Arena in Perth as well. Group A, Team Canada against Team Croatia. First up, it's Donna Vekic against Leylah Fernandez. So an intriguing contest between Vekic, the world number 19, and Fernandez, the world number 31. Vekic coming off an outstanding season, semi-final at Wimbledon and a silver medal at Paris, undefeated at the United Cup 5-0. Leylah Fernandez with a job to do. At the moment, though, it's all on the shoulders of Ugo Humbert trying to keep Team France in the contest. Dominic Stricker with a free shot, perhaps after a win earlier for Team Switzerland to Belinda Bencic.
Doesn't have a lot of back bend in his serve, does he? It's a lot of arm from this platform serve that Stricker has, but when he finds the accuracy like that, not many are coming back. Awesome.
I was reading a little bit about Stricker here building up to this match, and as a Swiss player, naturally Roger Federer took some interest in him when he was younger and spent some time practicing, and one of his big recollections was Federer really stressing, keep working on your serve. That is a must-have shot. As a lefty too, you get such an advantage. Doesn't have a huge live arm on him, so accuracy is going to matter the most.
Spent a couple of times in Dubai practicing with Roger, as Jim was saying. He's also spent a little bit of time with Stan Wawrinka down in Monte Carlo, who's also offered up some nice advice for Stricker.
He and Stan share a very similar body type. Oof.
30 on.
That's why accuracy does matter. You miss your target, you get punished quickly in men's tennis. Women's tennis, for that matter, as well. That's a good target.
40-30. Let first serve.
Top.
This is where he has to be careful, doesn't he, not to drop that ball short. And again, you see he struggles to get out to the corners as well as his opponent does. Really starts lunging from quite early to try to get there.
Advantage. Team
Solid serve,
Switzerland.
perhaps just a little ambitious off the return there from Humbert.
Well, he was guessing T. Humbert was looking for that serve, and he seemed to be excited when he guessed right and just overcooked that return.
Views.
Far outside.
Good play from Humbert. He just can't leave the ball hanging in that part of the court.
Advantage. Team France.
Nice adjustment on the return. Guessed the forehand was where the serve was going, but was much more conservative with the return, then went to work. A good compact backhand, taking the ball early on the rise. Too much to handle. Break point.
Too many missed first serves on this side for Stricker. Trouble now.
Team France.
And finds himself in a hole.
Team France.
Always interesting, Todd, isn't it? The
9-4
environment that you
institute.
grew up in. I mean, Humbert's talked about it quite openly, that played a lot of tennis back in France, back in Metz, where he grew up on carpet, fast carpet. You would have hit a few on those in your time. Don't have long backswings in those situations. Also promotes that willingness to go forward and take advantage of the points, because the more you can be on the front foot on a surface like that, the more times you're going to come out on top, as we see him make that slight adjustment, having been told by the umpire that he's been foot faulting.
He doesn't need to stand any closer to the line than he was there. He's creating such width with that serve that it's making Stricker desperate to do damage on the return. That wasn't a particularly big first serve, but because he was so far out of court, Stricker felt like he had to go for broke.
You watch how ultra aggressive Humbert is, and he is just hot and cold at times. You look at his points tally for the season: 20 tournaments, 2,765 points. 50% of them come from just 3 events. When he's good, he's almost unplayable. And that's proven to be the case at the moment. As Humbert grabbed the break and consolidates it with a hold to love. France looking good. 5-2.
By 5 games to 2.
A little bit of work time for the players, but of course...
1-0 after a win earlier today to Belinda Bencic over Chloe Paquet.
Worked out on Stricker's diet when he first came in. Wasn't as svelte as perhaps he could have been. Stricker pretty open about that, to be honest, saying that he didn't really pay as much attention to the nutrition as he should have been.
Cleans the line there, but yeah, you don't want to be cleaning your plate necessarily all the time as a tennis player. It's part of the maturation process for these young players. Just 22 years old is Dominic Stricker.
Game, Team Switzerland.
And if you come from Switzerland,
Team
it's
France leads.
not that
5-5
surprising
games
that you quite like chocolate, which was definitely a weakness of his. But actually, his time off where he became pretty adept at cooking was actually quite instructional for him in terms of the amount of calories that were in a certain meal. So that was a nice byproduct of his time off.
So evident with the ball change here at courtside how quick it is when you get these new balls. It'd probably take 2 games and they'll be back to normal. But this is really, I think, Stricker's opportunity. I don't think the slower condition suits him as much as the quickness, but obviously you've got to get the return back into play here.
Look how extremely wide he is to return here, Stricker. And gets beat down the middle. Good. That's a good balance in serving, actually, from the Frenchman, because he's showing the wide position most exclusively in the ad, but he is blending the tee serve quite a bit. Here's a wide position in the deuce court we haven't seen until now. Man, this guy's throwing a lot of looks. It's so tough to get any rhythm as a returner when you're seeing all these variables.
Yeah, Stricker's going to have to dig deep with his coach to figure out a solution to getting competitive on the return at the moment. It's been all Ugo, and he puts France up by a set.
First match of the season. I think most players like to play in an environment where they can get some rhythm and get comfortable. And when you play Ugo Humbert, that is not what you're going to get. He's a time taker. He's a risk taker as well. So for Stricker, job number 1, focus on making more first serves and de-stressing your service game, so then you can start to have a little bit more of a crack at Humbert's serve, and maybe move your return of serve positioning around to try and get him out of rhythm and stop him from making as many first serves just by having him have a think about you for a change. You got to play a little mental warfare here if you're the Swiss player. First things first, hold serve and then get to work. That's some inroads on the Humbert serve.
Game, Team Switzerland.
Promising start.
First game, second set.
Back in 2020 in Auckland, won every single one of his first serve points, and against John Isner. It sounds like something that perhaps would have happened a little bit more, but at that stage there'd only been 6 occasions that somebody had been absolutely perfect behind their first serve since 1991. Isner was on that list, Basilashvili, Ram, Goran Ivanisevic and Mayer. It's not something that too many people are able to do, but that is the problem that Stricker has at the moment. What would be the issue, do you feel, Jim, taking a leaf out of Medvedev's book and going deep here?
Well, if you go deep, you're creating more angle opportunities for the wide serve. But at this stage, I think something is worth trying, whether it's moving deep or moving just a different area in the return position than you have been. Because if someone's serving 3/4 of first serves in play, and you've only won 1 point, you need to do something different. You need more of this, a chance to see a second serve.
And that's really been one of the reasons, actually, that Humbert, I know we're seeing it a lot on his first serve, actually moved his position out wider, was to make more first serves. He felt, particularly against Hurkacz, he lost to in the 3rd round of the Aussie last year, that he was getting dominated by players on his second serve. Very comfortable hitting his backhand as his +1 to defend.
Love 30.
So in that ad court, he didn't stand quite as wide as we've seen. Neither did Humbert for his starting service position. But I think you just have to sometimes think about the angles of the net and force players to hit it over the higher part of the net, which is the wide part of the net. Oh, here's a golden opportunity with that miss. So what I'm saying is, if you're Stricker, stand closer to the center, force him to go wide. He may beat you, but he's been beating you a lot up the tee as well. Take one of them away. And I say take away the low part of the net, which he's doing right here. This is better.
Game, Team Switzerland.
Credit to Stricker, but a lack of first serves out of nowhere for Humbert. Offered up the opportunity, the double fault gives Stricker the break.
Yeah, you should have seen the look on his face as he's gone over to the towel box. Like, what was that? It always fascinates me that a player like who won a quick set like that was just on 30 minutes. Took a bathroom break. I mean, obviously maybe he had to go, but honestly, the whole momentum just went out with the bathroom then. That was a strange bit of tactics from him.
Love it in.
Now he looks a little shocked, doesn't he?
On.
Good disguise on his serves. Tough to pick it. Simple, efficient. Not super fast velocity, but he's hit his spots consistently well. Great reaction to adversity from Stricker after dropping that opening set.
40-30.
Did a great job holding here, waiting for his opponent to move. And just went right to the open space. Look how safe that winner was.
Game, Team Switzerland.
Beautiful serve into the outside, mixed it up, and nothing that Humbert could do to rescue the situation quickly, having dropped his serve for the first time. And it's 3-love to Switzerland. Continue the trend that he set himself in this opening segment of this second set. 5 out of the 6 titles for Humbert have come on a hard court, some outdoors, some indoors. The one that wasn't was Halle on the grass in 2021 for the Frenchman.
Love 15.
Who won just 9 matches in 2022 when he was going through that slump. Picked things back up in 2023, pulling in 33 wins and capping off a fine season last year with 39 of them.
Like a lot of players that seek warm climates for their off-season, pre-season training to get ready for the Aussie summer. Humbert spent 4 weeks training in Paris. Stayed close to home. Got his work in there. He's getting some work in here. Looks like he might have a third set to take care of. 15-30. And a timely ace to get back to 30 apiece. This set running away from him in a hurry. Wow, what a reaction. The crush and rush off of the return to the net from Stricker didn't catch Humbert by surprise. He was ready for a redirection.
This is a typical Stricker move, though, Jim. Now, when he gets ahead, he doesn't like to give his opponent any rhythm, and he plays pretty quick, and he likes to keep the points short, and he's doing a good job of it.
So good.
Game, Team France. Team Switzerland leads by 3-1.
Just to go back to that rush, what did you call it, Jim? Rush and crush? Or
Crush and rush.
Crush and rush.
You call it whatever you want.
Yeah, chip charge, drive and come forward. It builds pressure, though, later on, because if your opponent knows that that's coming at you, it can often get you a double or a weaker serve. So it's not a bad tactic, even though it didn't pay off for him just then. But if this does go into the third, it may even work at that particular moment for him.
We don't see a lot of chip in charge anymore. We see a lot of rip in charge.
We do,
coming
indeed.
in. It's a different
Why
time.
not give it a go? Because you'd get past, that's why. We're talking about that, though. I think this surface here under the Ken Rosewall Arena, and the conditions are a little quicker than I think what we've seen in the past. The court doesn't seem as gritty, and sitting courtside too, I can see a layer of ball fluff starting to get on top of it, and that also makes it a little slicker. So, you know, it's a lot to do with conditions of how we see, you know, tactics played out in the modern game, because the courts have become more neutralised and the same speed across all surfaces. Imagine usually in Melbourne, a little bit heavier and slower than here in Sydney.
40 love.
Both have shown that they like indoor courts. Basel 23, also Stockholm this year for Stricker, where he took out Berrettini under a roof. Three of Humbert's titles coming indoors in Antwerp, Metz and Marseille last year.
Game, Team Switzerland.
Yeah, again, he's coming up blank on the return in this second
Team
set.
Switzerland
Is
leads
Humbert
by
as
4
Stricker
games to 1.
hangs on to the lead that he has built up 4-1. Well, the players have been in town for a few days. Don't know how many of them have been able to hop out to Taronga Zoo and go and see some of the 5,000 animals that over there from 350 species. Special experience there called Roar and Snore, where, Jim, you can camp overnight within the zoo grounds. Is that on your bucket list?
When are we going?
Yeah, I'm all for that. I've just been in Namibia and Botswana, so I'm keen to get back in with the wildlife. Taronga, of course, indigenous word for beautiful water view, as you can see.
United Cup, we have play underway at both our venues at RAC Arena in Perth and also in Sydney. In Perth, it's Team Canada and Team Croatia. It's Leila Fernandez and Donna Vekic on serve early doors in that opening set. Remarkably, this is the first meeting between the pair. We'll keep you up to date with how that one is progressing. At the moment, the fight back is on, isn't it? Dominic Stricker, Team Switzerland, against Ugo Humbert of Team France. Stricker with the opportunity to win the tie for Switzerland after Belinda Bencic's win earlier today.
Love.
Vorne, tief bleiben, vor allem Energie hoch.
He achieved that feat in November of last year, in 2023, sorry, courtesy of play like
30
that.
left.
It's untouchable.
Gut, nur dein Spiel. Glaub uns, bring sie noch.
Game, Team France. Team Switzerland leads by 4 games to 2.
This is the last game that this particular set of tennis balls will be in use before new balls come in, so they'll be at their slowest. This might be the best chance for the Frenchman to get back involved in this set. First serves can nullify a lot of those problems if Stricker can keep knocking those down. Doing a good job of it this set, over 70% made.
15 love.
This is where the shoe's now on the other foot, and the Frenchman might consider changing his return to serve position a bit to try and see some more second serves. Stricker's in rhythm. Beautiful rhythm.
Game, Team Switzerland. Ball change, please.
Yep. Pops down his 10th ace, pierces the defences of Humbert once again, and moves to within a game of taking us to a decider here in Sydney. Somewhat marooned on the return because he's not getting a good clean hit on it. He's blocking a lot, and then he's having to take a good couple of meters sort of backpedaling. So Stricker's +1 is becoming increasingly effective.
What's the thing that we're seeing is that Stricker's not even having to go to a corner to hit winners with his forehand, because Humbert is sort of backpedaling and desperately trying to cover a corner. Like a goalkeeper guessing, he's getting beaten down the middle quite a bit.
Some entertaining tennis underway early at RAC Arena in Perth in this first meeting between Team Canada and Team Croatia. Leylah Fernandez and Donna Vekic. Some great rallies, another warm day in Perth, day 2 of action on this court. Of course, day 1 at Ken Rosewell Arena in Sydney. And that's some great craft from Donna Vekic. So we remain on serve. We'll keep you up to date with the scores as this one progresses. Vekic, 19 in the world against Fernandez, 31. The tennis is showing that so far. This match, intriguing stages, this second set. Ugo Humbert serving.
We haven't seen Stricker win many of those baseline rallies. He got that one, though.
He did. I'm just wondering, you have the stats in front of you, the under and over in terms of strokes within the rally, but that was the first time where Humbert should have come forward and he hesitated, and you don't see Stricker do that. As soon as he hit, he goes, and that's causing pressure on Humbert here, the way that he is actually coming forward.
15 on.
You know, that's one part of Humbert's game you'd like to see him do a little better, when he does have his opponent stretched, taking a few more balls out of the air, not waiting to hit another ground stroke and rip it to the open court.
30-15.
Absolutely devastating.
40-15.
Nice little slide there from the Roland Garros Junior Champion in 2020. You can see how well he defends on the clay, Stricker, but you cannot defend against that. Pure pace, sheer class.
One of the things that does make Humbert so difficult to play against is his lack of predictability, his real desire to change direction on both sides of the ball. Wasn't able to handle that backhand change down the line, but it keeps you really guessing as a defender.
Game, Team France.
It's probably also why he lacks the consistency of some of the other more programmed players who play to the more percentage plays in tennis. This guy's more of a gambler. And when he gets hot, look out.
You said he could break into the top 10. Is it this kind of style of game that could win a major?
I mean, if he gets hot enough, maybe. I mean, Wimbledon would be, I think, a good surface. Maybe his best chance, because so few players are adept at grass compared to others. All right, here comes crunch time now for Stricker. Hasn't been down in the count on his serves much this set.
Had his chances this year, didn't he, against Alcaraz, down 2-1. Had love 40 at 4-3 up in the fourth, potentially take it to a fifth. So that's where you feel as though the aggressive court position return isn't working out for him. He's completely marooned off the return.
Does that have something to do, though, with returning a lefty serve, which you don't do very often? That can be playing a big part in this today.
A true gut check coming up here for the 22-year-old. Couple of wayward shots that have just opened the door for a mini comeback for Humbert.
Stepping up big time is Dominic Stricker. He's the one changing direction and on attack in that vital 30-all point, and it leads to set point.
Just the pressure at the moment.
Team France.
Causing a little capitulation here for Stricker. A couple of careless shots, and they're looking for a cheap one, and it was an expensive mistake. Break back point. Well, he came in on a complete bluff. And Humbert is just way too good. He's not going to allow Stricker off there, and he doesn't. And we are back on serve in the second set. French hopes high once again.
Team Switzerland leads by 5 games to 4.
This will be a far easier change of ends here for the French captain and Humbert after what they've strived to do through this second set, where he's been playing from behind right from the get-go after a suboptimal service game in the start of this second set. But Jim, that was a little inexplicable really from Stricker. He wasn't under a huge amount of pressure from the back of the court until that stage.
He was inexperienced is what it was, wasn't it, right? His first serve had been so solid. Over 70% first serves in play leading into that game, and then he just didn't make enough of them, and that put him under pressure.
Zu viele riskieren willst beim Aufschlag oder dann.
It was a desperation play down break point to try and get in.
Einfach zu wenig Erste im Spiel dann. Dann wird es gleich natürlich schwieriger, aber trotzdem, was nach dem Aufschlag passiert, ist wichtig.
An update for you from RAC Arena in Perth. Leylah Fernandez, Team Canada against Donna Vekic, Team Croatia. This is game point here for Vekic to square it up at 4-all. Oh, good put away, great rally, and we're all squared up at 4-all in the first set. Fernandez and Vekic. Meanwhile, at Ken Rosewall Arena in Sydney, a crucial stage in this match. Dominic Stricker unable to serve out the second set. Ugo Humbert now serving 4-5.
So the one bobble nearly cost him.
15 line.
And he's clawing his way back into it.
It'll be easy coming from Switzerland after the success of both Roger and Stan over the years, being the next one in the shadows, trying to break through for somebody like Dominic Stricker. Whatever achievements you have are always going to be measured against theirs. Hasn't been the explosion of Swiss talent coming through. But perhaps some people feel as though you need icons and you need people to look up to, but they've had Stan and Roger, but nobody from Switzerland inside the world's top 100 currently.
Game, Team France.
That's the French number one. Draws up alongside Stricker for the first time in this second set.
5 games on.
Well, isn't it fascinating what psychology can do? Because Stricker, when he served for it, has lost all spin. Both the shape on serve, the forehand in particular has become very flat. The follow-through finishing in his pocket, not up over his shoulder. More the lasso effect that he used earlier in the match. That tends to be what can happen.
He's got him. It's a good backhand, but if you look at where Stricker was after he kind of approached the net, he had made no distance at all. He hits that shot, look at where he is. He's way behind the service line there. Way too much space given up for Humbert to exploit.
That's a stabilizer for the Swiss. Needed that one.
15 on.
Great defense from Humbert to extend the rally, but well handled on the overhead. Let's see if that settles the young fellow's nerves. Man, he's just... You guys play any poker?
Badly.
I mean, the guy he's got a pair of twos on this approach shot, and he's just pushing his chips all in, and he's getting his bluff called.
Yeah.
You're never going to win that point against a player of Humbert's quality. There's just no way. All you're showing him is that you're afraid to stay in a baseline rally right now, that you're in panic mode. He'd be better off trying to slash a winner than to try and bluff his way through an approach shot like that.
That is a really special return. What an exquisite angle he's produced.
15-14.
How fast things have turned around.
Bei dem wohl kurz raus. Schön oben raus. Lovely rhythm to the rally. He built the point beautifully. He didn't pull the pin out on either of the opening couple of shots, then found the court position that he wanted. And it's all too easy right now for Humbert, who will serve for the win.
That is where you want to hit an approach shot from and follow it in.
Incredible when you think that they have had so many great players. The only other one was Lucas Pouille and Songa in Vienna back in 2017. Stricker's going to need some help here.
Oh, he's not doing himself favors when he misses a second serve return in the deuce court, because our friends at Bolt 6, giving us all the analysis here, have informed that the Frenchman is yet to lose a point in the ad court this match when he's made a first serve.
No commentators curse there.
We do what we can, but we're not perfect. He's been perfect when he's made that first serve with that extreme wide start position, which initially started off with some foot faults that were not called, but he was soft warned and has moved away from the sideline, moving to victory now.
Self-imploded with the second set finishing line within his grasp when he served for it. But he is wilted. And now Humbert just 1 point away.
Team France. 2-set love, 6-3, 7-5.
Well, it was a nice turnaround on the bounce. He got a helping hand from Stricker, but